because they're all grad students, doing this movie, so they had a budget of like $3,000 to shoot this American story directed by Sam Choi. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, but I grew up just every day after school. There was this place, this mysterious thing called Borders. I don't know if people remember, but it was before Barnes and Noble. And Borders was it was a 5 minute walk from my high school. So and I'll call you 1-800 collect. That's all. Or I'll put a quarter in the payphone and just call you and be like, yeah, I'm at Borders. And and I would just read through Brian Michael Bendis' like Ultimate Spider-Man run,
Yeah.
read through his Daredevil run, and read through his what's it called, Jessica Jones stuff.
Yeah.
And like I just remember really loving his dialogue, and really like it felt real. It was different. And and that was like throughout my entire high school career, and throughout like me being in college, me being in uh, conservatory acting school in New York City, just reading the entire like Ultimate Spider-Man run up until like Peter Parker like dying, and I'm like an adult in my late 20s, and like that's like 11, 13 years of my life, really. Because I think it came out in, I want to say, 2001, and I was like 14, and then they killed Peter Parker off,
Yeah.
and I didn't know like Miles Morales was gonna happen, because Brian Michael Bendis was just like, yeah, when I kill someone,
They're
like this
dead.
ain't the '90s, this ain't
Yeah.
the '90s, motherfucker. People stay dead in my comics, because like we have to really evaluate that. The only people, actually no, the only, up until like 2015, the only people that stayed dead were like Bruce Wayne's parents and
Yeah.
Uncle Ben. Like that's it.
That's
Freaking
very
there.
true.
Yeah, like Gwen Stacy freaking flipped around in 2014. She's like, I got bitten by the spider.
Yep.
And it's cool. I like it. But yeah, um so reading tons of comics.
Uh-huh.
And again, I'm still acting a lot. I'm like in New York City now, and auditioning a lot. And I auditioned for a few different, like my acting career is kind of picking up a little bit. And I'm auditioning for like plays. I'm auditioning for film and TV now, and auditioned for like Orange is the New Black,
Yeah.
and uh, what's it called? I forget the name. It's that YA novel. Um, it's not Hunger Games. It's the other one.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, the one that they didn't finish
um,
making the last one of.
yeah, they didn't finish it. No one cares.
Yeah, nobody cared. They just ran out of audience. God, what
um,
is the name of that? Somebody will
what is it?
comment on it later.
Someone say something. Is it? It has the girl that was supposed to be Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the lead in it. Anyway, I auditioned for that a bunch of times, and that led to me auditioning for this independent movie called Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And so I auditioned for Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and I'm
Little
really
film, you may have
excited.
heard of it.
Yeah, very small, like unknown director named J.J. Abrams, and you know, keep it real. I had no idea I was auditioning for that film when I
Uh,
got, because usually when we go into audition for things, they give us like little excerpts of the script,
mm-hmm.
and when I got it, it tells you like who's directing it, or they just tell you who's producing it. And J.J. Abrams' name is on it, but like when I go to audition for things, J.J. Abrams has produced like a million things,
Right.
so his name's on everything, and they described it as a war, like an army movie. So I was like, okay, a war movie, and
That's hilarious.
like and it was super duper secret. And I auditioned for. Actually, what's hilarious is the guy in Force Awakens who gets like shot and touches like Finn's helmet or whatever. That guy, that's who I was auditioning for. That guy has more dialogue. Yeah, like because in the script it says like I'm like it described this as like a Vietnam thing, and we're being deployed somewhere, and like the opening shot was like this guy, his gun is shaking because he's nervous, and cocky soldier, but I was a stormtrooper, but had no idea. And I'm just like, hey man, what's up? What's going on? You seem nervous. And he's like, yeah, this is my first deploy. He says, don't worry about it. Just stay close to me. I'll be your eyes and ears out here. Don't worry about it. And then the dude gets shot and like gets shot in the chest. And he's like, I got your back. And I touch his helmet, and like it's like blood on his helmet. And they described him as a deserter of a war.
Finn.
Yeah, so I auditioned for it, and they asked me to come back, and then but like my agent was like, "Hey, they want you to come in for the lead person." I'm like, "Okay, you know," and they said it's gonna. My manager was just like, "It's going to be, you know, you can't tell anyone about this. You tell anyone, like they'll sue you." I'm like, "Yo, relax, like, yo, calm the fuck down." And because at this point I've been auditioning a lot, so like it was whatever. So it's at a different location in New York at like a different studio, and I take an elevator, and they told me to come there early because they're going to give me the script before I come in. I'm going to have like maybe 45 minutes to spend with the script. So I'm like, all right. So I get there really early, take an elevator doors open, and it's like Lucasfilm. And I'm like,
whoa.
Lucasfilm. I was like, war movie. I'm like, is it J.J. Abrams directing like the new sequel? And I was like, and I knew something was up because like I recognized people coming into it. Like one of the guys, like Ray Walker, who's Cyborg in Justice League, he was walking out, and he had just auditioned. And but he was on Broadway. He was famous for playing Muhammad Ali on Broadway. And I was like, that dude's a big Broadway. I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a big deal. Holy shit! Holy shit! And just like had a freak out. Just like had like a total like a freaking like that Kermit the Frog meme, but internally.
Yeah.
It was doing this. And yeah, it was bad. So I'm just like, and like this girl comes over, like, hi, Mr. Crownson, can I get you anything? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just like I'm okay. I'm just gonna can I have my sides memorized? Like, sure. And she like showed me to like my area, and there's like every single different type of like smart water, Dasani water, Danishes, and all this like healthy sugary stuff that I stole and put in my book bag because I'm like a poor actor at the time. I'm just like, I'm gonna take
this,
you know, like I'm gonna fuck if I get seen. So yeah, I go in, and I was in there for a long time. I went into audition, and there's a ton of people. J.J. Abrams isn't there, but it's like a lot of people. It's like Kathleen Kennedy and like all of these like Disney people and assistants and executives. And I'm like, all right, I just gotta be calm. I just gotta be funny. And they just kind of asked me questions. I think they just wanted to get to know me as a person. We're spending $1 billion. You know, you can handle being on set somewhere for 6 months, and we're going to pay you a lot of money. You're not going to fuck around, are you? I think that's like that was the underlining sentences. And so I auditioned, and I remember being in there because usually when you audition, it's like 2 to 5 minutes maximum, and you're out. But I remember being in there and like, okay, I walked in at like 1, 1:30. And so it was like an intensive like times, and I was like, okay, let me just really give it my all. And so I think I ended up auditioning for like 90 minutes.
Dang.
And after all that, I was like, man, I feel really good. And then I'm like, what if I get this? I'm like, what if I'm in Star Wars? What's my, like, what is my, and then it was like, they said, hey, we're going to like make an announcement. You're going to find out who's acting. They're like, oh, we're not going to call you directly. We're just going to via online and stuff. So I'm like, oh no. So I had to like go on, and when they said the cast of Star Wars announced, and it was like John Boyega, and I was like, that could be.
That's such a crappy way of announcing for you.
Just sitting there. Like you going in for a job for like data entry or some bullshit. Like normally you just find out the next day and then you get the job. Can you imagine? It's like, all right, Hod the reporter. All right, the data entry. It's like they're not gonna head down to that. So, oh no, I didn't get it. So I was kind of like I should have just even auditioned and be considered for such like to have such an experience, but I was really depressed because I really wanted that job.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, "Yo, like, just you've been working yourself too hard. I think you should like chill out." My parents were from Ghana, West Africa. Apartment, quit my jobs. I didn't love the black male version, and I moved to Africa for and Americans. Great food, great people. And about month 3 into being there, watching this Harriet Tubman documentary, and I'm loving it. Great. And when that ends, I'm just kind of chilling, and I stumble on to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's like it's the end of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where it's Zhang Zi versus Michelle Yao.
Yeah.
And they're having since like katana fights, and I was like, man, this is great. This is great. I'm in motherfucking Africa, and I'm watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is great. This is for so that ends, and I stumble on to like movie network, and I thought it was funny they were playing like America and the Winter Soldier, and that's like that was just funny to me. It's like he's like, you are now watching the foreign movie network, and we are going to play Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh, Chris Evans is like exotic to Africans. I forgot. So Captain America Winter Soldier is actually ending, and then this movie called Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters comes on, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like, cause I went to America and I never got around to it. I thought it was a cool premise. I'm what's it called? So I watch it. Terrible movie.
Yeah, it is.
it's bad. It's not a good like. Nope. It's such a cool premise, right?
Yep.
It's such a cool premise, but it's such a terrible execution. I'm like, no, this could have been so much fun. And what happened to do? And so like I watched it. I'm just really disappointed in it. You know, writing in my journal the following evening, I told you I'm Christian shit, and down like what I've been doing. I just write down, you know, Harriet Tubman document, Crouching Tiger katana fight scene, and Hunch Hunters. Terrible movie, sucks. Really, these 3 things kind of just jumped up at me, and it was Harriet Tubman and Anna's and Hunters, and then I was just like kind of just sitting in there, and I was like, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer! Oh my god! What is that? I'm like, oh.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yes. And I had no idea what it was. I didn't know, like, I just thought it was like a cool premise. And I just remember writing it down, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. And I didn't make a story. I just thought visual of like, what if Harriet Tubman could move around? And the fight choreography was similar to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but like Harriet Tubman's leading slaves to freedom and stuff. And it's like a racist werewolf, and Harriet Tubman just like kicks its ass. It's cool. But yeah, so I kind of like, it was in my head, but I didn't know what it was. I'm like, it's not a movie. Like, I don't have millions of dollars to make it. So I'm traveling, and this is where Brian Michael Bendis comes in again. And I get back into America. I don't know, like when you've traveled and they have those like overpriced like bookstores at the airport.
Yep.
I think yeah, it's called like Hudson Books or Brookstone. Is what it's called. Yeah, and like I'm just kind of like waiting for like this bus to take me, and I just saw it was called like How to Make Comic Books by Brian Michael Bendis. Like Brian Michael Bendis like wrote a How to Make Comics.
He's following you.
Yeah, it was a thing. Hey, wow. I'm like, I'm going to buy that on Amazon, not at this overpriced place in New York City. I was like, 'cause it was like $40 or something. So I'm like, no, I'm going to order it on Amazon for like $11. And I have it to this day.
There it is. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I bought the book and read it, and just kind of from that learned how to make a comic book script and kind of into comic book business, but still wasn't really doing anything with it. I made like a really crappy logo on like that, and again I still had no. So like, I shouldn't say like I discovered him, I invented him. No, I saw Cortland's Facebook, and I just liked his art a lot. And I said, hey man, I have this idea for like a comic book. I think you'd be great for it. I want you to do it. And he's like, oh cool, what's the comic? And I'm like, it's called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. And he like didn't say anything, like no reaction. And he's like, we're gonna get in so much trouble for doing this. Let's do it. Yeah, right on, man. rebel. And so Cortland's like on with it, and he was like, I wanted to like at least make like a cover image, at least like a promotional thing. And again, I have no idea what I'm doing at all at this time. So I'm just like, cool, I have this idea for a cover. It should be Harriet Tubman looking at us, and she should be like angry and shit, or like and like katanas are crossed, just like that. Thank you for doing that, because I'm like digging the cover under this box, which is packed away and taped safely. So I just like, and he's like, cool, got it. And he came back in like weeks, and he showed it, and I was like, awesome. And I kind of like had it, you know, in my phone, and I didn't share it with anyone. And then I think it was like on like the week after July 4th, I'm just gonna share this and just be like, hey guys, it's my first, you know, hopefully it'll come out soon. And I was kind of driving around. I was running errands with my mom at the time, and I turned my phone on, and like blowing up, like the bunch of notifications were just like, what is this? Oh my god, this is amazing. Or this bullshit, you're disrespectful to Harriet Tubman. Fuck you. Crownson. Like, dude, this had strangers curse at me before. People are just like, your mom didn't raise you right, Crownson. It's disrespectful what you do. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I'm like, so like, so I wasn't gonna do it, but then I was like this kid, he was commenting, and he just was, he says, yo, he's like, this book looks dope. I don't know what he talks like. I assume this young gentleman talks like this, and he was like, "Hey, yo, this book looks dope. Hey, y'all tripping, but this in this book. This book has inspired me to look up Harriet Tubman and her true story. All of y'all whack at David Crownson. Keep doing what you're doing." And I was like, "Thank you, Trent from Baltimore, Maryland." Yeah. So yeah, like I think I started writing like the script for it. It was going to cost like a lot of money to, and yeah, and I don't come from like the wealth or like money and stuff, and I was scared of doing a Kickstarter because I had just seen a Kickstarter like, and I'm like, I'll never do a Kickstarter thing. And I had a bunch of Kickstarters like actually fail, so I was kind of like scared about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to partner with this, and I say this, I was going to partner with this producer who he would fix the comic if he could have a chance of a what's it called, being a producer when the
Right.
comic gets turned like a TV show. So I was like, yes, please, I need money, please do it. And the he was like some evil weird guy. he like, so we were good, and it had been 2 weeks. I didn't hear. I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. Just want to make sure we're all for money. It's with Cortland, and he just was like, "How dare you like question me? I'm busy making $1 million movies. You know what, David? I quit." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
So I was, yeah, like I was like dude was a total freak. So like, what a weird guy. So I'm like, you know what? Like, let me just focus on doing something else. You know, it'll be fine. Like, you know, it's gonna be okay. You know, Hillary Clinton's gonna be president next week, and like, you know, we're all gonna vote, and and like you know, like it's gonna be like I was like, man, 2017 is gonna be crazy. We're gonna have like a female president. Like, look how crazy that's gonna be, man. And I'm like, I can sleep at night when she's president. It's fine, but it's still cool to have a female president. So, anywho, so the next day after the election,
Oh God.
what could have been?
The world changed,
Hillary
didn't it?
The world, dude. I remember it felt like 10 9/11s happened.
It did, yeah, it did, yeah. My wife and I, yeah, I remember that. That's a really good description.
Yeah, man, and like it just like everything just felt really shitty
Mm-hmm.
and bad. And a friend of mine called me, and she was upset. My friend Ashley Brown, she called me at 4 in the morning, and we talked till like she was in California, and I think she had just seen it, and we were like talking like oh my god, how did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like okay, she's like, I gotta change the subject. What do you have going on? And I was like, well, I was gonna do this comic book, but it's not gonna happen, or I don't know what's gonna happen. And she's like, wait, that Harriet Tubman thing? I was like, yeah, that book happened, David. And I'm like, yeah, but. And she's like, no, I don't care what you have to do. I need to see like a black woman kicking ass right now. Like, I need to see like a strong black woman beating up a racist demon right now. Like, the world needs that. And I was like, shit. I'm like, okay, this isn't about like a goofy idea I had in the afternoon when I was in Ghana, West Africa anymore. It's not about me. It's about like
Mhm.
something else.
Mhm.
And I had conversations with other friends who were like, I need to see that book now because the world is shit. And at first I was like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So after talking to all my friends, I went for like a drive. I was gonna watch like Luke Cage and just like binge watch Luke Cage and eat a bunch of like comfort food, like oh Oreos and vanilla batter cake, like
Mm.
whipped cream and peanut butter. You're welcome, and almond milk. Uh, and white cheddar cheese balls. So
Mm.
that was my and a extra cheese meat lovers pizza. Yeah, yeah. David was doing some like David. It was a tough day, Brett.
I can tell. It was after you ate all that for sure.
I had them like spread out. Like the
Okay.
pizza was dinner, which was 7 hours later.
Okay. Okay.
The crack, the diabetic coma was at like 12 p.m. So and it like rained all day,
Yeah.
like where I was. Go to Walmart and I'm waiting in line to like I have all my like diabetic bullshit like with me, and there's like this obnoxiously long line, and I'm like, yeah, why is this line like so long? And I'm in a kind of conservative part in New Jersey,
Mm.
and a conservative part that's ironically called White House, which is extremely funny to me. Um, so I'm waiting in line, and like it's taking a really long time to like check out, and no one's going to this cashier who has like a hijab on, like a Muslim
Mm.
woman, who I see all the time. And I'm like, oh, is something wrong with her register? Is that why no one's going to her like her line? And everyone's like no, I just don't feel safe going to her. I'm like, I was like, what? I was like, you don't feel safe? I'm like what? Like, does she have a cold? Like, is she coughing? And like, no one wanted to go to this, and no one wanted to go to her line. I'm like, okay. So I go and I check out and I leave. And I smile at her and we talk. And she was still in good spirits, even though these people were clearly being like Muslim, like phobic and being
Mm.
racist. And, we check out. I look at the long line of white people and I'm just like, bye, bitches. And like go to my car. And I'm like, wow, like they were so like caught up in the normalcy of like racist bullshit
Mhm.
that they didn't want to go to this person's line. They were willing to like uh like stand in line for a long time because they just didn't want to go to this woman.
Just not to go to her.
And yeah, and it was the disturbing part was that like it felt like, oh, this is okay for us to behave like this. And it felt like now. And I'm like, no, you should be ashamed to feel that way.
Hmm.
And you should be embarrassed. You should be scared to even have those thoughts. Like, that's really bad. That's terrible. And like I was just like I was shaking it off. And this guy who was waiting in the long line, he was like, "Hey, man," and it was this like white dude, like a deer hunter, like classic like conservative dude. He's like, "Hey, brother." I was like, "What the fuck?" And he's "Hey, man, you're braver than me." And this dude has like guns and camo, and he's obviously like killing animals and shit, and has guns. He's like, "You're braver than me for going to that line." And I'm like, yo, do you think like when she scans my double stuffed Oreos, like it's gonna explode or some bullshit?
Right.
She's been there for months. Yeah, so I'm like, I called Cortland, and I'm like, we're making this comic book. And he was like, okay. He was like, how? I'm like, we're doing a Kickstarter. He was like, okay. He's like, and like Cortland was like, he's like, when? I'm like, in 2 weeks. He's like, what? I said I want us on Cyber Monday because everyone's going to be online. And he was like, that's not enough time at all. He's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, we're doing it. And he's like, dude, it's not enough time. Just wait till February to launch the Kickstarter. Like, I'm like, no, dude, like, we're doing it. And he's like, so Cortland was like, he's like, if you do this, it could fail. And I pulled some Han Solo shit. I was like, don't tell me the odds and shit. Which, okay, that was very stupid. Cortland was actually doing a very smart thing, but I was the one who was being like hell bent, passion, like, like we're gonna do this and like die try, and we did it. We launched the Kickstarter on Cyber Monday.
Wow. And
the goal, like, I was just gonna make it for $5,000. And two of my friends were like, no, you should do a little bit more, because it has to be like achievable but still like not achievable for like a normal person.
Right.
And I was like, one friend was like, yeah, because you could just borrow $5,000. And I was just like,
yeah, can you really? Give it here. Nobody gave you it.
Yeah. Hell no. Shout out to Chris Chalk and Kim Chalk. They were the ones, like, they were helping me build the Kickstarter. And they're like, you just borrow $5,000, so you should do it for 15. And I was like, okay. So we did it for 15, and just went balls to the wall. And the way that I'm kind of loud about like Avengers, and the way I'm loud about Star Wars, I'm like, I'm going to be that passionate about my own thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to treat Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer like it's the next Avengers. I'm going to treat Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer like it's Star Wars in 1975, where Star Wars was a big deal. And goal was for 15,000, and we raised $21,000 in 3 weeks, and it was the most stressful and exciting and best like experience of like my like adult life, because everyone kind of rallied and we're like, we're going to support you, and we think your idea is great. And so yeah, that felt really cool. It felt really awesome. And yeah, then things got really hard, because I didn't know how expensive this shit was going to be. I'm like, wow, I can do a bunch of comics with, and then Kickstarter was like, oh hey, we're Kickstarter, but we're taxes.
That's right. Yeah, you don't realize you have to pay taxes on all that.
Oh yeah, so like, hey, like, it's like, hi, this is Kickstarter. We know we said 21,000, but we actually meant maybe. I'm like, okay, I can still do stuff. And then ended up, and then covers, and then promo work, and then the printing. I think I was down to like $800 and like 2 with months and stuff. And I was like, how am I going to pay for the printing of this? And then like my tax return came, and I was like, yay, a tax return. Wait, I gotta be responsible with my Kickstarter. I'm like, okay, tax return, I guess we're not gonna go to California or go on vacation. We're gonna pay for the printing of this comic. But it's okay, because I ordered a bunch of comics and sent this to the backers, and then ended up I ordered I think my partner at Chocolate City Comics, Tobias Quest, he was like an excess amount of your books. And I was like, I don't want to do that, man. I have a tax return that I want to use for my own selfish needs. And he was like, no, you should, like, you have a good book. You're going to sell out. And I'm like, so he's like, do it. Just believe in yourself. And I'm like, no, I can do it. He says, because of this right here. And I was like, tons of ugly cries. Thank you, Tobias. So this wall, really see it, but 2 years ago, it was filled with boxes up to the ceiling of Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer books, and they bought those and had them shipped in April. And I had them all and had shipped them all to the. Even when I shipped them to the Kickstarter backers, there were still like boxes. Like people were like, "Hey, are you moving?" I'm like, "No."
Just comic books.
just comics. And they're like, nerd. I'm like, but it's my own. Yeah, but like, so got those in April, and by October was completely sold out. Like it was a blank. It is what it is now, you know. So yeah, so that felt good.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What a journey from Africa to Kickstarter. That's the name of your autobiography.
Yeah, I should do that. From Africa to Kickstarter, or like, or yeah, I'm still gonna like try Eat, Pray, Love, the blackmail version, but I might get savage shit.
Well, we're running out of time for Instagram, so
Oh no!
I know, yeah, but Instagram only has a 59-ish minute stream setting. So, how many issues are you planning in Harriet Tubman total?
I'm planning 200 issues.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
We're gonna Robert Kirkman that shit, but not Robert Kirkman that shit where instead of doing 150, let's do 145, or we're not gonna do 200, let's do 194. And I'm like, dude, come on.
That's
awesome. Like, yeah, I'm like, no, 200 for $20 bill. Like, you know.
I love that. That's amazing. So, any other indie titles you're following right now?
I'm following. Damn, I gotta clean this room. Right now, and this is gonna answer another. Oh, I don't know if it's like considered indie because Robert Kirkman's a damn millionaire. But yeah. So like, I'm reading what's propped up on my. What's propping up my phone is a book called Firepower by Robert Kirkman, and who I love. I love his stuff. And David Walker's book Bitter Root, which is awesome. And I think I'll let you ask the questions because it goes into Bitter Root.
Okay, so Chuck Brown is going to be on the show in a few weeks, co-author of Bitterroot and On the Stump, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So if you could do a crossover, is this what you're getting? If you could do a crossover between Harriet Tubman and any other indie title, what would it be? I have my pick. I'll let you know my pick after you tell me yours.
Oh, it would be Bitterroot, but it'd probably be like the prequel of Bitterroot, because Bitterroot takes place like in I think 1920s.
Yeah,
the 1920s, and my book takes place in
pre-Civil War.
In pre-Civil War, like late 1850s, early 1860s. So I just, I think it'd be great. Yeah. Call me Dave Walker. We're friends on Facebook.
That is one of my two picks. And my other one is, have you heard of the book Heru from JB Comics? He's based out of the UK. It's about a slave who gets superpowers. And so I think that would be a cool crossover. You got to check it out. JBEON Comics. I'll message you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Good.
All right.
Please message me.
I will. It's a great book. And he's doing cool things. So other people who might want to be getting into indie comics, what advice would you give them?
Well, getting into being like creators and making your own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Try to read comics and try to read as much as possible. things that you would personally read. Don't make it because, oh, let me appeal to this crowd. Let me appeal to this crowd. Like, make it like you kind of have to start from like a selfish point of view. You have to write comics the for your inner like teenage like self, basically, and like that should be your audience. Like I used to have like I can't find there's a picture of me when I'm like 10 years old, and I'm just like that's my boss, you know, like no one else.
I
Like
love
I
that.
do I do things for that guy because that person has the imagination, and that person's not afraid of anything still, you know,
Mhm.
like I'm like, well, that person isn't like trying to like date and like and all this other shit. Like that person's like, I don't care. Like I'm David. I'm a Power Ranger. You know, well, like that guy, but that like that. I call him again. I call him my boss. He's not afraid
Uh-huh.
of anything. So I write and create for that guy.
I love that. I love that so much. I've been doing a lot of these interviews and hear a lot of different pieces of advice, and they're all just so unique to the creator. And I love that. Your 10-year-old you is your boss. I love that.
Yeah.
So, he follows a lot of people on Twitter, but the president, the one and only president, does follow you on Twitter.
Does.
And so,
Does.
just by chance, we are broadcasting live on Twitter. Barack, if you're watching, this has nothing to do with David, man. I just love you, and I want to have you over for dinner. So just, you don't follow me, you follow David. So just got to put it out there.
Like since like when he comes to your like house for dinner,
Yeah.
like I would like to be invited as well.
Of course. I mean, you were the conduit by which the invitation was made, so you can come over also.
Awesome. Whatever you're like, I don't care. Whatever you're cooking, I will eat it.
Sounds good. Barack, your choice for that night.
Yes.
So, David,
and feel free to bring Michelle.
Yeah, definitely. My wife would kill me if Michelle didn't come too. So yeah, Barack, bring Michelle. Shell, if I may. David, tell people where they can get your awesome books, 1 through 4. Where can they get them at?
Yeah, if you can go to my link on Instagram, and right now at the store called Sanctum Sanctorum, they do ship on demand. A few comic stores are doing ship on demand. If you want like a personalized signed thing, you can just hit me up on just direct message me on Instagram, and I'll just PayPal Venmo me, and I'll sign it.
That's how I got issue 3.
Yeah. And also like forgive us, like my printer guy, Jason Reeves, who has an amazing printing and distribution company for indie comics, 133 art. Please forgive him. Like he's one man. So things take time. Like I think when we did our Juneteenth and like July 4th, like bust, like we had like something like over like 400, 800 orders.
Wow.
But Jason's one guy. Jason has to print all the books, cut and staple them together, and then be like, and so like, and Jason isn't Amazon. I don't have Amazon money yet. So I sometimes feel bad. Some people are like, "Hey, where's my comic?" So I'm like, shit. So I'm like, stop yelling at me. So
don't be mad at David, y'all.
yes. So don't be mad. It take time, and plus, like, we're in a global pandemic. So like, I ordered. Whatever TMI this, I ordered that hilarious thing, like the squatty potty or whatever.
Yes.
Amazing invention. Ordered it 10 days ago. I just got it yesterday.
Even Amazon is running
slow. Take a day.
Yeah,
Amazon's like, it's going to be 2 days to one.
Well, David, thank you so much for being on here tonight. This was a great interview. I loved it. Thank you so much. I'm going to enjoy reading issues 1 through 200, man. I can't wait.
Me too.
Well, everybody, if you don't already follow Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, you can find her just about everywhere. David's on all social media platforms, I believe. I know he's at least on Instagram and Twitter, and Harriet Tubman has her own Instagram. So reach out and buy those books and give David Amazon money.
Please.
Until next time, everybody, we